Go. Salute to NBA Nation on this Monday afternoon. Another edition of the NBA Report, episode 7. On today's show, man, will we be crowning a new NBA champion, man? We're going to preview Nuggets and Heat Game 5. Plus, could Kyrie Irving be headed to the Rockets? Is the Rockets a dark horse team for Kyrie Irving, man? We're going to get into those reports. Plus, the legend Mike Breen celebrates his 100th broadcast tonight on the NBA Finals, man. We're going to talk about the greatness of Mike Breen, plus some other news and notes from around the league, man. So lock in. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Another edition of the NBA Report. CP the franchise, Alex Chataros on the check-in. Let's get into it, man. Al, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, bro. You know, had a successful Knicks yesterday. So anyone from Knicks Fan TV who's tuning in here and you haven't caught it yet, make sure to go there. And if you're just a big NBA fan, you want to know more about the Knicks, make sure to go over to Knicks Fan TV and check it out. But I've been good, man. Did some late night grilling yesterday after the show.
Nice.
Had some salmon burgers.
You fancy
zucchini.
with it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You know, like the salmon burgers, trying to be healthy, man.
Nice.
Trying to be healthy, trying to change my diet.
Yeah.
Was a little unhealthy last year. So that, grilled zucchini, grilled peppers.
Oh, that's nice.
You know what it is, bro.
That's nice, man. That's nice. It's good for you to get ahead of the game, man, because you don't want to be dad bodding it up, late 30s and stuff like that. You got to get it, because once you get older, it takes longer and it's harder to get rid of, man. So it's good for you to get out in front of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, after yesterday's show, being dubbed the young whippersnapper and the geezer, I got to get ready, Just learning the ways.
That's it. Just learning the ways, man. I got to school you to the game, man. I got to show you the way so that you don't make the same mistakes I did. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
Simple and plain. Simple and plain.
But I got some big news. Some big news.
Okay, what's up?
From Adrian Wojnarowski right now.
Whoa, a Woj bomb to start the show. Hang on. What's going on?
Miami's Tyler Herro, who was upgraded to questionable, is expected to suit up for Game 5
Whoa.
in an attempt a return tonight. The hope is that Herro doesn't suffer a setback ahead of Game 5 and can still manage discomfort in his right hand, sources said. Herro has been out since fracturing the hand in Game 1 versus Milwaukee in the opening round of the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Wow. So there we go. We start the show off with a Woj bomb. Herro coming back. Spoelstra pulling out all the stops here. This is it. Go hard or go home. And Herro, who has been practicing with the team but hadn't been cleared. There was thoughts that, they don't want to rush him back and they're not sure how he's going to, get back into the swing of things. Well, it's do or die time now. So Herro is jumping back into the mix. And let's see how that impacts things, man. It doesn't say will he start or will he come off the bench. It says no setbacks. Yeah, it doesn't say. He's expected to suit up and attempt a return tonight. So I would think it's a bench situation, with Vincent and Strus already in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily, even though those guys have kind of been struggling as of the last 2 or 3 games, you don't really want to kind of mess that chemistry up. I think he comes off the bench. Come off the bench and let it fly, man. What do you have to lose?
Yeah, I don't see how you want to throw him into the starting rotation and throw off that rhythm. You also want to start out strong and ease him back into it, in my opinion. I'd be shocked if he started tonight.
No.
Because that's a lot of faith. Then you're really trying to throw things at the wall and see what sticks if you're Eric Spoelstra. And if I'm Mike Malone, then I tried to read that as fear, and I tried to tell my guys to go foot on the pedal, attack, see what Herro has, go right at Tyler Herro. He's not a great defender. See what he can do, man. Make him work on the defensive end, and then limit him offensively.
Yeah, go right at him, and who knows? And maybe they try to swipe down on the hand, maybe test him mentally, see if he's built for it, physically and mentally. Going to be an interesting chess match there, but the Heat could certainly use him because some of their guys that have gotten them to the dance thus far have been struggling. And, look at Max Strus last 4 games. He's a 3-point sniper, 19% from 3 last 4 games on damn near 7 attempts. We go to Gabe Vincent, who was a hero in the first 2 games. Or one of the top plays in the first 2 games. Last 2, he's come back to the pack a little bit. 0 for 4 in game 4 from 3, 1 for 6 in game 3 from 3. Whereas in games 1, he started 5 for 10. In game 2, 4 for 6 from downtown. So those guys have cooled off. Jimmy and Bam have delivered consistently offensively, but they're going to need a little bit more punch. They're going to need more punch, right? Role players are role players for a reason. If they are more consistent, they be stars. So I think the hero addition, they don't have anything to lose at this point. You get somebody that can score in isolation, that can catch and shoot. If he's in rhythm, you have no idea. He's coming in ice cold in a winner-go-home situation. But they have nothing to lose. Go ahead and, throw him in there and see what he does.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if Spo goes 11 tonight, then if you're throwing him back into the mix. Because we've seen him go 9, 10, so it'll be interesting tonight, man. We'll see what Spoelstra wants to cook up and go out there with. It'll be interesting to see if we see some Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro minutes, because both of them, better offensive players than defenders.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, man. You would think you want to get Herro back into the series earlier to get him into some rhythm.
Yeah.
Bring him back in a game 5 do or die on the road in Denver, high altitude.
It's tough.
Asking a lot. You're asking a lot.
It's as tough as it can get. But look, man, they literally have nothing to lose. They're down 3-1. We know teams in the finals that are down 3-1 have a 35 that are up 3-1 in the finals have a 35-1 record. Who's the team with the 1 loss?
Golden State Warriors.
The Golden State Warriors. That's a fact. And as a matter of fact, on this day, back in 2016, the Cleveland Cavaliers won the first of what would be 3 straight to beat the Golden State Warriors for that championship. So, look, you can't count out the Heat. They showed us this year that you really can't. But as we said in many of these games, Denver's they're just the better team, man. The better stars, the more complete team, the hungry team. And I just think it's Denver's time, man. I just think it's their time.
You're going to need excellent performances, like perfect performances from everybody to really make a comeback like the Cavs did against the Warriors. I just don't see that happening at this point. I mean, Caleb Martin is not performing like he did in the previous rounds. Strus has been struggling to shoot. Gabe Vincent has been thrown out of rhythm based on his foul troubles. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. And now you're going to ask Tyler Herro to come back and say, hey, man, no, you haven't played in a minute. Can you save us?
I'm here. I'm here to win. Yeah, gotta be a tall order, but hey, if anybody can do it, it's the Miami Heat. Like you said, they're gonna need a perfect game. Yes, I would expect them to play with desperation. I would expect Jimmy and Bam to come with it. This is the last hurrah, and it's gonna take them shooting better, much better. Remember, 48.5% from 3 is where they hit in game 2, and they still only won by 5 points, right? Or was it 3 points? They won by 3 points. I think it was 111-108 game 2 because Murray had the chance to tie it at the end and he missed it.
Yep. They won by 3 in game 2.
So all of that, and they still only won by 3 points. To me, outside of that fourth quarter where Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry start going ballistic, outside of that, the Heat there hasn't been another quarter where you could say, well, the Heat really took this one or they dominated this quarter. They've been outclassed for basically the entire series outside of that 1 quarter in the fourth. And if Denver doesn't have those uncharacteristically boneheaded lapses on defense, this could be a sweep already.
Yeah, if you get Michael Porter Jr. playing, KCP playing to what we saw in the previous rounds, it wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
But Miami, the thing that you're going to need for Miami tonight, if you don't get those role players, Jimmy's got to step up. Actually, in all honesty, Jimmy's got to step up either way. If you want to see this series get extended, Jimmy needs to have a playoff Jimmy performance. He needs to put up 35 plus and really have great efficiency and just bend the defense at his will. We haven't really seen Jimmy do that since Milwaukee. Like he has had moments in series where it's like, okay, he attacks He defeats the double team, triple team. He catches somebody whacking on defense, falling asleep at the wheel, and gets a backdoor cut. But other than that, Jimmy hasn't really done anything. He's been very consistent, getting you 25 points, 25 points on the regular. But he hasn't done anything where you're like, whoa, 34 points like you saw from both Jokic and Jamal Murray, 41 points like you saw from Jokic.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't seen anything like that. And if Miami looks to do anything in the series to make a comeback and make another historic performance, you're going to need Jimmy Butler to be at the front of that.
Absolutely, man. Here's a little bit of the Miami Heat side and what their mindset is going into this Game 5. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys.
We have an incredibly competitive group. We've done everything the hard way, and that's the way it's going to have to be done right now again. And all we're going to focus on is getting this thing back to the 305.
Definitely not going to hang our heads or quit. That's not an option. It's not going to happen.
Just got to do whatever we can to get the next one.
We just have to believe in one game at a time.
It's win or go home right now, and our intensity has been pretty high, and but when you get in these situations, you have to really be focused on every second.
One possession, one quarter, half by half, and just get it done by any means necessary, and we'll figure the rest out.
I believe in my guys. Back against the wall, you're going to get our best version.
That's the beauty of it. We get another game, so we're not going to sit here and act like the series is over or anything like that. It's first to 4.
Now we're in a must-win situation every single game, which we're capable of. Some correctable things that we got to do, but it's not impossible. So we got to go out there and do it. We got 3 to get.
Well, as we said, if there's any team, if there's ever a team to do it, or just to get a win tonight and take it back to Miami for Game 6, it would be the Heat. The coach never gets too low, never gets rattled, and I think that part of their culture kind of permeates throughout the team. To Butler, to Bam, they've had a never say quit, never say die attitude, and they have the vets. They have Lowry, who's NBA champion. They have Kevin Love, who's an NBA champion. They have Udonis Haslem, who could be a locker room voice for them. He's an NBA champion. Obviously, Spoelstra has the rings, Riley, so on and so forth. So they have the guys. They have the mentality. And, yes, the Nuggets are the more dominant team, but this is a new territory for the Nuggets as well. Can they close? Will they get, too full of themselves? Can they close? Will be very, very interesting to see, man. Well, we'll have to see what happens tonight, man.
Good. I don't think they're going to do it, though.
Yeah,
I don't. I just don't think they're going to be able to do it, man. Yeah. I think Denver at this point, I think Denver knows they can't let up at all.
Yeah.
They're going to come out here and think, if we give Miami an inch, that's just too much for them to give them any sort of confidence. And doing it on your own home court, being aggressive, I think that's what we're about to see tonight. And we still haven't seen a good KCP or Michael Porter Jr. game, and they're going to be home. Role players play better at home.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough for Miami to overcome that. I think Denver takes it, locks it up, and we see the end of the series tonight. And I think you're going to get a big performance out of both Murray and Jokic, because I also believe, saw a factor. They know how much it would mean to the fans if they could do that on their own home court.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I absolutely agree. And here's Mike Malone after Game 4, on his team's mentality and their approach. Here's Mike Malone.
I don't think we played well in Game 1. Now, I watched that tape, and they were 5 of 16 on wide open threes. And as I told our players this morning, the fact that they got 16 wide open threes is problematic. And if you think that Max Strus is going to go 0 for 9 again, or Duncan Robinson is going to go 1 for 5 again, you're wrong. So there were so many the fourth quarter, we gave up 30 points, 60% from the field, 50 from 3, 6 of 12 from the three-point line. So, I told our players today, don't read the paper. Don't listen to the folks on the radio and TV saying that this series is over and that we've done something, because we haven't done a damn thing. We won Game 1. And the reason I told our players I was excited this morning was because we won Game 1 and we didn't play well. And
my fault. That was Mike Malone's. That was after Game 1. Like, he did say the same thing after Game 4. I got to find the soundbite. But regardless, his message to his team was, you got to lock in and close. You got to lock in and close. And, the thing about this Nuggets team is, Game 1, they got the job done. Game 2 was a letdown game. And, the whole narrative going after Game 2 was, well, if you hold Jokic to only 4 assists, that's the key. That's the key. Well, the next game, Jokic and Murray go ballistic for a 30-point triple-double and blow these guys out the gym. Then, Game 4, those two guys only combined for 38 points, but it's the other guys. It's Gordon, it's Bruce Brown, who combined for 48 points to get them the W, man. And it just goes to show you the depth of this team, how scrappy they are. They were able to survive those non-Jokic minutes from that 9-minute mark to the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter when he picked up his 5th foul. And they're able to maintain the lead, maintain the momentum, and not give Miami any life. Bruce Brown, Gordon, Jeff Green, that supporting cast, along with Jamal Murray. It just goes to show you how this team, there's nothing you can only take away but so much. But then they come at you in other ways. And give credit to Mike Malone as well, man, for going with Bruce Brown down that stretch over Michael Porter Jr. That was a good coaching adjustment there as well, man.
Absolutely. And you talk about adjustments, versatility, and you noted hold Jokic to 4 assists. We got this. Well, last game, they held Jokic to 4 assists.
Yeah.
But who else showed up? You had Jamal Murray who said, okay, I'll be the facilitator. He racked up 12 assists. You have Aaron Gordon getting into his facilitating chops, 6 assists. This team is too deep. This team is, when we think about positionless basketball, I think you got that right here with the Denver Nuggets. If you want to talk about positionless basketball, what is the poster child for that? You have a center who can bring up the ball. You have your third, fourth option, and Aaron Gordon who can facilitate at the power forward position, who knows how to do that from his time in Orlando. Jamal Murray can play on and off ball. Okay, he can get you 12 assists if you need to. If Jokic is not able to, they can attack you in motions. They can attack you in isolation. Doesn't matter what they do. You got role players who could step up to the challenge. You had Bruce Brown getting you go 8 for 11 last time in Game 4. You had Aaron Gordon going for 11-15. Like this team hasn't even played its peak basketball.
Yeah,
I think we really saw that during the Lakers series, and we haven't really seen that. And that was the most competitive series, I think, for the Nuggets.
Yeah,
and we haven't even seen a complete game like that from the Nuggets yet against Miami. And that's where you gotta give credit to Miami for how good they are defensively. They just don't have the offensive versatility that Denver has. And that's why going back home, you're talking about the Nuggets, man, being in the driver's seat right now. And I think they know. Because they know what happens if you give Miami any sort of inch to come back in this series. It's going to be an uphill battle. And the fact that they're relying on 7 to 8 guys for depth, even though they're good, you don't want to keep going into the series because then there's the possibility of having a bad shooting night like we saw from Boston, right? In a Game 7.
Yeah.
You don't have Tatum. Tatum gets hurt. You don't want to extend this series any longer. You want to take care of business. And that's why I think tonight the Nuggets know that, and they're going to take care of business tonight and just close out the series.
True indeed, man. This was the Mike Malone clip I was looking for after Game 4. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys.
Guys stepped up. It was we're up 13 to go in the fourth quarter. They started out 8-0, and that coincides with Nikola picking up his 5th foul. So they came out aggressively. They have us on our heels. And usually in the regular season, when Nikola went out, things kind of went haywire. But I can say not just tonight, Mike, but throughout these playoffs, however many games we've played now, the non-Nikola minutes have gone really well. And we called a timeout. We ran a play, ATO. Jamal knocks it down, really well executed. And then that unit that was out there, Jamal, Bruce, Jeff, Aaron, and then, KCP or Christian, they defended. I mean, the fourth quarter, we held that team to 22 points, 39 from the field. We outscored them in the second half, I think 53-44. And then Bruce Brown in the fourth quarter was amazing. He had, I think, 21 points. 11 of those were in the fourth quarter. They were giving Jamal so much attention that let's get Jamal off the ball, let Bruce make some plays. he was aggressive, got to the basket, made shots, and tonight was an impressive performance. I thought Aaron Gordon was huge all night long, man. He brought his hard hat tonight and was just a warrior on both ends for us. Nikola, he had another great game. And one of the best stats of the night, Mike, was Jamal Murray had 12 assists, no turnovers. In a game where he was getting blitzed and bodies thrown at him all night long, did not have one turnover. And that's just remarkable. So truly a team win. We're not satisfied. We're going home. We know we have a lot of work to do, and we're going to take it one quarter at a time.
A lot of work to do one quarter at a time. And as he said, shout out to Michael Powell in the chat. He talks about Denver having good balance. And that's what the coach is referring to right now. The non-Jokic minutes, they come out and they deliver offensively, defensively. Bruce Brown, 11 of his 21 in the fourth quarter, 8 in the final 2 minutes. Jamal Murray handling the pressure. I mean, it was a good job by Miami. Taking the ball out of Jamal Murray's hands, he was just better. 12 assists. No mistakes, no turnovers, a flawless playmaking game for Jamal Murray. This is a team on a mission right now, man. Absolutely clicking on all cylinders.
No doubt about it. Well said. That's why. So it's over tonight, man. I just think it's over.
Man, it's over.
I just really think it's over.
So. I think it's over as well, man. Aaron Gordon, and shout out to Josh Eberly for this tweet. Aaron Gordon, NBA Finals plus minus in the last 5 years. Aaron Gordon plus 53, leading everybody. Kevon Looney last year plus 48. Drew Holiday, 2021 plus 37. AD in the bubble plus 49. He was a monster. Danny Green, Toronto Raptors plus 35. Aaron Gordon going absolutely ballistic. Just fitting in like a glove with Jokic and Murray on both ends of the floor. And it's such a bonus to have him take on the dirty work. He had to take on Karl Anthony Towns, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. So you have a guy like that that's taking the dirty work, who's taking the pressure off of Jokic and Murray. Not to say that they don't have to work on defense, because obviously you can't underrate NBA players. Guys will tell you all the time, there's guys who you think are scrubs out there can put in work. So it's not to say that their jobs, that to take those guys lightly, but he's obviously taking on the class of each team. And Butler in this series, the class of each team, it helps for your other stars when you have a glue guy that can do that. And then offensively, he can push the ball up the floor. He's getting rebounds, excellent cutting. High flying, using his athleticism. Complimentary piece to your two stars, man. Aaron Gordon, he's been great.
Absolutely. Aaron Gordon's the case of, like, sometimes you got to figure, sometimes you're in the wrong role and you're viewed as differently, right? You think of him in Orlando and people are like, oh, he's overrated. He doesn't really offer much, not really a winning player. All these negatives that go with it, right? But then you put him on a different team, utilize his strengths. And look at him now, man. We're talking about a guy who we can legit say had the Aaron Gordon game in Game 4 and was a big reason to why they won and why they're up 3-1 in the series. So it's good to see his story change because he has been so impactful, man. And it's just finding the right guys where you can insert him into, right? Obviously, it helps when you have someone like Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic as your 1 and 2 guys. But him being that third, fourth option on this team and doing all the gritty work. You need someone that can do all the gritty work, man.
Yeah.
And that's a role player that doesn't really get a lot of high praise, but when you watch what he does on the floor, he's so important because prior to that, it was, what was it? Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant was legitimately who Aaron Gordon took over for that role. And losing Jeremy Grant was big for Denver, a versatile defender, a guy who took efficient shots, right? Timely shots. And you saw how big he was in that Western Conference playoffs in the bubble. Losing Jeremy Grant was a big loss to Denver, and they were able to replace him with Aaron Gordon, who's doing that, if not at a higher level than what Jeremy Grant did. So, salute to Aaron Gordon for what he's done, man.
True indeed. And then on the other side, you have a Bruce Brown, who was a former Net. I had no clue why the Nets let him walk. But his comments on his free agency and his upcoming contract is just very, very interesting, man. Here is Bruce Brown on what happened in free agency last offseason.
Yeah, so the rumors coming into free agency last year was that I was getting a lot of offers, which I wasn't. Nobody really wanted me because they didn't know if I could be a guard or not. So I kind of took it personal. But I knew after the season, the way I played in Brooklyn, it wouldn't fit, or people would question how I played. So I kind of told my agent that I was going to get F this summer, like I already knew it. So I just came in with a chip on my shoulder, and Denver came in and said the right things, and it clicked, and it was perfect.
Crazy, right? And then this is Brown's other comment on free agencies. Bruce Brown again after Game 4.
Talking to Jeff Green a couple of days ago, and he was talking about the grind of a long NBA career, and his message was sort of, don't let the business get you down. Now, you've talked about coming to Denver, but what kept you from being disappointed in this situation, not coming to Denver, but not having the offers you wanted and making the most of it?
Definitely was disappointed. But, I mean, that just added a chip on my shoulder to come out and prove what I know I can do in this league. And Denver was just a perfect fit. Everything obviously fell right in place how we thought it would. So I'm happy to be here.
All right, that was Bruce Brown, man, rocking a chip on his shoulder. And it's incredible. I don't know who to blame for the free agent blunder. Is it the agents? Is it his agent? Or is it NBA teams sleeping on this guy? But it's just funny to see how, hey, even the guys that get paid to evaluate talent get it wrong sometimes. Whether it's the draft, free agency, or putting together a roster. But I don't see how you look at this guy, what he did with the Nets last year. Similar things. Cutting. He was excellent at passing out of the short roll. Energy, a high energy guy. Could knock down a corner three for you. I don't understand how you look at that. It's solid defender. So I don't understand how you look at this guy and say, we don't have a place for this guy on our team. So now he goes to Denver. He had a chip on his shoulder, as he said. He signs a 1+1 player option at $6 million. And now he's about to be an NBA champion, opt out of his contract, and cash out. Maybe it's with Denver. Maybe it's somebody else. Well, shout out to Bruce Brown, man, for staying with it.
Yeah, well, Bruce Brown is like a Josh Hart to me, man. A guy who's a good role player. Role players like that have to be on good teams to show what their value is, right? And for Bruce Brown, whatever went wrong in Brooklyn, we can kind of tell what went wrong in Brooklyn. But you see his value right now on the Nuggets. Crazy that you think that no one reach out to him. And that's why when we look at NBA teams, man, and, I always like, it's always like the funny responses that you see on Twitter, like, you think you know more than the team, da-da-da. Like, everyone makes mistakes, man. Like, everyone makes mistakes. Coaching, drafts, scouting.
Everybody. Scouts. Even the guys that get paid for it.
Look, man, we're Knicks fans.
Right.
Kevin Knox is still out there. Frank Ntilikina is still out there.
Right.
And that's when you watch someone like Bruce Brown, you're just like, how did this guy get under the radar? You could say maybe it might be the agent not doing a good enough job, like for PR wise, like, hey, this is what this guy does. This is what this guy, like, look at his tape. Look what he can offer you. Maybe it's teams just not recognizing and really looking around the league and saying, oh, this is what he could offer to this team. This is what we need. But Denver took a chance on him, and now talk about the impact that he's made. I mean, he right now being on Denver, and when you have someone like Jokic, Murray once again, he's in the 87th percentile finishing around the rim. He's finishing 73% of his shots during the regular season. 73% of his shots. He's gone 190 out of 262 attempts around the rim, CP.
Crazy.
That's 4 feet or less. Like, how can you not want somebody like that who's a good defender, shoot decently from three? He's shooting 36%. He's slightly above league average. Like, you tell me you get somebody like that who can cut off ball and give you that's the wing that you look for.
That's a wing.
It's a legitimate three. It's a legitimate 3-and-D wing that you're looking for.
Craziness. Absolutely insane, man. Well, he's about to cash out. So great job by him staying with it. It's a tough league for some of these role players, man, and some of these guys that try to make a name for themselves. He found the right place, and he's in the right place at the right time, man, and contributing very nicely for this Denver Nuggets team. The highest, I think he still has, especially with this 21-point performance, he still outscored the entire Nuggets bench throughout the playoffs. And Bruce Brown, the most points, more than the entire Nuggets bench combined in the playoffs. Now, they run maybe a 7-man rotation, so he's usually beating out one guy. But, hey, he's there for his team when they need him, and I believe he's at double digits in each game. If we look at it, let's go to Bruce Brown's last 4 games. So to everybody in the chat, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We're going to take some calls in just a second. 732, hang on. Bruce Brown, last 4 games, 11.8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, shooting 50% from 3. 21 points in Game 4. Game 3 was the only one where he didn't score that much, 5 points. 11 in Game 2, 10 in Game 1. 50% from downtown so far. So what you want for your guy. 53% from the field overall. So
that's what you're looking for, man.
That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for, man. Let's go to the phones, man. 732. What's your name? Where you calling in from?
Okay.
There he is. Dan from New Jersey, man. He's finished with the books. He sounds refreshed. So this is summertime, Dan, now. Dan, how you feeling, bro?
Yeah, I feel great, man. Shout out to you. Shout out Alex, man.
Yep.
I know by this time next year, if we get a better finals matchup, I know the channel's going to grow. I know we'll get 1,000 people talk about the NBA finals here next year,
we laying the groundwork for greatness. Somebody clip this up in the chat. We're laying the groundwork for greatness. It's on the way. June 12, 2023. Yep.
Yeah, man. This time next year, I'm gonna be calling in. There's gonna be 1,000 people.
It's gonna be a long line.
It's gonna be
That's a
from
fact.
all walks of the NBA, man.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man.
But yeah, man, I just want to talk next if you guys don't mind, man. I mean, these finals, bro. Come on.
Yo, you gotta wait. This ain't weekly, man. Hold on, Dan. We gotta wait, man. We gotta wait. Well, we'll get to your question if you have time at the end of the show. Only because we got a program. We gotta stay. We gotta stay on topic, Dan. We gotta stay on topic, man.
I got you, man. I got you. I'll stay on hold.
All right, cool. You should have called in next weekly last night, man. I thought he had an NBA Finals topic. He wants to talk Knicks.
I should have figured by the way he started, like, maybe when we get a better NBA Finals. By the way, let me ask you this next question.
By the
Shout
way,
out to Dan, though.
Let's talk Knicks, man. Shout out to Dan from New Jersey. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If you guys are new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new. We'll shout you guys out. And this is another episode of the NBA Report. CB the franchise, Alex Rataros on the ones and twos. Tyler Herro cleared for Game 5. Will that make a difference? What do you guys think, man? Leave us a comment. Call us up. Let us know your thoughts on that. And, yeah, man. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens tonight. I want to get to this Richard Jefferson comment on Nikola Jokic because it was very interesting. I'm trying to find it. And is this it? Hang on, let me see. Is this what I'm looking for? Yeah, Richard Jefferson on Jokic.
Somebody was saying
Kareem David. I'm trying to find this. Hang on.
JJ saying, can I ask a Mets question?
A Mets question? No. We definitely can't do that. But basically, it's a clip of Richard Jefferson basically saying that, you have to, teams are now going to start adding more big man depth to basically try to guard a Nikola Jokic. That was basically Richard Jefferson's comment. I was looking for the actual audio soundbite, but I couldn't find it. But that was his comment there, that teams are going to start assembling their rosters to take this guy on, man. What do you think about that?
Like what? Just keep drafting centers? I don't see that. I mean, look, if you look at what Miami is doing right now, you could say, I think I saw something today that if the Heat lose, Pat Riley should go out and go get Damian Lillard. I think that was an Athletic article.
Mm-hmm.
That was an Athletic article. If the Miami Heat lose, Pat Riley should go out and go get Damian Lillard. So they're not even thinking about drafting a center to battle Jokic. It's you need more star power. someone who can help you offensively. And I think when you watch Miami, how they face up against the Nuggets, you could say that. You could say they need somebody who's more consistent offensively because they're not too far out of these games. For the most part, these games have been tightly contested.
Yeah.
You know, they've been up until the end, they're usually within 10 points throughout the entire game. So I don't know if you necessarily need somebody to watch out for Jokic, but I think you just need another impactful player, more so of a star, if you want to keep up with them. And I think when you look at Jimmy Butler, he's been very consistent. He's a star. Bam has been a star. But your role players are just not shown up. If the role players show up, we're probably talking about a different series.
True indeed, man. This was a clip. I did find the clip. Here it is. Richard Jefferson on Jokic. Here it is. This is courtesy of the Road Tripping podcast. It's Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye. Here it is.
You remember when the Warriors first showed up with their small ball, their depth lineup, all of that stuff? It took teams a while to okay, well, if we're going to compete, we got to load up on wings. We got to do this. Jokic is on the verge of starting to make teams improve their big depth just to throw bodies at him. You don't want Jaren Jackson Jr. guarding him. You don't want Bam guarding him. You don't want Anthony Davis guarding him. So the only way to do that is if you have actual bigs that can guard him. So I think Denver's just ahead of the curve, and they have a chance. It'd probably be 1-2 years before teams know and figure out how to really best match up with them.
That was his comment. Yeah, I don't really see it. I don't really see teams you can't. There is no Jokic stopper, right? Let's just put that out there. There is no silver bullet to defending Jokic and his brilliance. He has size. He has cunning. He can shoot the three. He can take you inside. He can post up. His passing ability. He spaces the floor. I mean, he literally does everything. I don't think
he's a point center.
He's a point center, for crying out loud, right? So there's no true roster construction that you're going to use to stop him outside of traditionally. Most teams are going to carry 2, maybe 3 bigs. Maybe you have a versatile 4 or 5 who's starting like a Jaren Jackson, and maybe you have a Steven Adams on the backup. I don't see them doing anything different other than cloning Jokic and putting him out there, and that guy's just not there. I do like the Bam hybrid center as well in terms of making Jokic play defense. Bam has showed the ability to knock down the mid-range shot. He has the athleticism. He has the speed to maybe take him off of the dribble. Maybe make him work that way. So you have a guy like a Bam who can space the floor a little bit. He can knock down a mid-range. Not necessarily, he's not a three-point shooter, but he can knock down a mid-range. He can attack the basket. So you make Jokic move his feet a little bit. As Jamal Crawford said, moving from east to west. And what Bam also likes to do is trying to get into his body. I think that is the type of center that you want to counter Jokic with offensively. But defensively, I mean, if it's not AD, if it's not Bam, who's out there to defend him? And what Bam is going to find out is what AD found out is that, you look at what these guys did on both ends of the floor. They had a great run. They had a good series. And you look at what Jokic does, and then you realize that it just wasn't good enough. That's how great Jokic has been in these playoffs and in these finals. In the finals.
I just don't understand what type of defender do you see at center coming through the draft that's going to stop Jokic? Anthony Davis is considered one of the top end defenders at the big position. Couldn't stop Jokic. So you're going to tell me that somebody comes through the draft is greater center defensively than Anthony Davis? When Anthony Davis is fully healthy, he could be one of the top shot blocking centers, one of the top defenders because of his versatility of guarding the perimeter, guarding the paint. Had a tough time with Jokic, right?
Both of them.
I just what's the next thing?
Yeah,
I think what you said is right. You got to go with, if you're going to attack Jokic, you got to make him work defensively, and he's been decent on defense. Bam's still getting his, So
right.
If that's the way I see you countering, I don't see people go to stock up on bigs because then you're now just changing your depth to more to a bigger lineup and maybe less mobile.
Yeah.
You're hoping that you can find centers like that, and finding a center that is that agile, that strong at that height. Jokic is a 7-footer, You know, like that's not a lot of guys are produced like that. We don't get a lot of Shaqs coming into the league. Not a lot of Yao Mings. There's very few and far between. Even Embiid, you know, we didn't get to see that matchup, but that's probably the closest you're going to get to someone who can fully match what Jokic does, and not many Embiids come through the draft.
No, not at all, man. And, you know, the old adage in sports that, well, it used to be that a good defense beats a good offense. I think that still holds in baseball when you look at, you know, pitching and relief pitching and infield defense. I think that's why in baseball it's not always that the best team wins. It's a team that's playing the best that goes on that run. But in football and basketball, because of the rules shifting towards the offense, a good offense is going to beat a good defense. So maybe the best counter to Jokic is, as you said, number one, having the star power that can compete and having a better offense. Right? If the Heat's offense that has taken them to the finals shows up in this series, it's a much tighter series. But they're not hitting their threes. And they're not scoring as much. I think in the 3 games, they've several of these games, they've scored less than 100 points. So, you know, I think it's more on the offensive side that you're looking to counter them, but not with a player, but with your overall team. Just offensively, you got to be better. So,
yeah,
just interesting debate indeed. Area code 267. What's your name? Where you calling in from?
Yo, blast from the class. CP is Angel from Philly. What's good, brothers? How y'all
Angel from
feeling?
Philly in the building. Angel, how you feeling, man?
I'm good, brother. You know, salute to y'all. Hit that like button. You guys know the vibes.
Absolutely.
Look, man, I think what the keys for this series is, you know, first of all, the role players, right? Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, the last 2 games, they're 4 for 27 from the field, and 2 for 17 from 3. You're not going to beat Denver when your role players are playing like that. Aaron Gordon by himself, the last 2 games is 16 for 25, 3 or 4 from 3. So when you got one player that's just outplaying your whole role players, you're not going to beat Denver. What I'm most impressed about is the fact that the Nuggets high basketball IQ. Nobody's selfish. Everybody's passing the ball, and they all know who's going to get the right shot at the right moment. So for me, the coaching is outstanding. The role players are stepping up when it matters most. And even if they're not scoring per se, they're also making, you know, improvements and, you know, affecting the game elsewhere with rebounding, with defense. Just like last game, you saw Braun, you know, have a good game, and then you saw Brown have a good game this game. So it's just a great team basketball. That, you know, that's what you like to see when you watch a team play ball. And you know, the free throw shooting as well, and the 3-point shooting from Miami, 8 for 25 from 3, and they were 11 of 35 the game before. So you're not going to beat Denver when you're shooting like that. And that's just my take, fellas. I had to make sure I came through for y'all.
Appreciate it,
man.
man.
Always want to show support. Love you guys.
Good to
Have
hear
a
from you,
good
man.
one.
The chat is saying that you didn't reintroduce yourself to the chat, man.
Oh, it's in the chat. You can see me posting up in there. I said it's Angel from Philly. You should see it up in there.
All right, man. All right, good to hear from you, man.
It's good to hear from y'all, man. Y'all have a good one. And shout out to y'all, man. I appreciate what y'all do. And, you know, hopefully we can talk some more basketball, man. I want to be able to do what y'all do. So just want to show my appreciation for you guys. And salute to y'all, man. Hit that like button. You guys know the vibes, man.
No doubt. Good to hear from you, man. Angel from Philly. Yeah.
The GOAT Simp. Salute to Angel.
The GOAT Simp. Smooth. You know, some of the names that we gave him. But he left in controversial fashion, man. He was an avid Knicks fan, TV supporter, and you know, we hadn't heard from him in a while. After a certain host left in a controversial manner, it seems like he packed his bag up and took off. You know, but you know, the chat saying, Angel, you got to check in. TM saying you got to check in, man. You can't just, you know, call in and I didn't know you didn't check in. If I knew that, I would have asked you to do that first, man. You know, chat saying you gotta, you know, chop it up with them a little bit first. Yeah. All right. I'm saying Angel from Philly, man. Angel from Philly, man.
You gotta at least say hi to TM, man. Gotta say hi to
you gotta check
King
in.
Mod over
you
there.
gotta check in, bro. You know? You got to check in. So to everybody in the chat, we got Jay from East New York in here, Jamaica Queens 22. Shout out to TM. We got, who else we got? And Gotcha Opens in here. So whole KFTV squad is in here. Gamba's in here. King Katona. Mr. Dons. Mr. Duns. My 2 cents. Never misses a show. They're checking in from overseas. So salute to everybody, man. Salute to D-Block.
Got Nick Take Jake in here as well.
Nick's Take Jake in the building. Salute to John.
Ooh. We got Eric Beats in here.
Eric L. Beats. Yeah, never misses a show, man. So salute to the family in here. Chopping it up. What's your guys' predictions in the chat, man? Who wins tonight? Will the Heat take this thing back to the 305, or will we have a new champion? We're going to get to our next topic. Also coming up on Wednesday, Keith Smith is going to be joining us out. Keith Smith. We're going to talk salary cap. We're going to talk NBA offseason. Offseason coming up fast. So we're going to talk to Keith Smith. We're going to talk to, cross your fingers, we may have Mark Jones on that show on Wednesday, too. So we might have a doubleheader, I guess. Should be a good one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mark Jones. Mark Jones, man. Yeah. NBA on ESPN analyst, play-by-play guy.
Let's
go.
go.
Mark Jones. Yeah, he's also a Heat season ticket holder. I just learned that. Over the weekend.
There's no conflict over there? Conflict of interest?
No. You mean with ESPN or with the Miami Heat?
Well, I'm just saying, if you're a Miami Heat season ticket holder, if you call those games.
Yeah. Well, he's off. You know, Breen is calling it. So, you know,
this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Let's talk Kyrie Irving, Al, because over the weekend, NBA.
Do we have to?
Well, this is the NBA report, man. So we got to talk about everything. So, Kyrie, according to Mark Stein, NBA insider, obviously Kyrie is going to be one of the most sought-after free agents, potentially. Well, we all know he wants to go to L.A. We all know LeBron wants him there. L.A. say they don't want him. Kyrie's trying to get LeBron to Dallas. Kyrie also doing the Drew League this year, so shout out to them. Good get by them. But Mark Stein is reporting that if the Harden to the Rockets deal flops, that Kyrie Irving could be a backup plan for them. Rockets have $60 million in cap space. They just signed Udoka as the coach. A lot of the insiders are saying this is now phase 2 of the build. They got good young talent, Jalen Green. They have, Jabari Smith. They have Kevin Porter on who's reclaiming his career. They're Alperen Sengun, a nice little Jokic light, if you will. He's flashing the passes, flashing the footwork. I like that kid's game. I like his game. A couple other guys in tow there. Kenyon Martin Jr. So they got some nice young talent. So yeah. Now they're looking at Kyrie as a potential backup plan, man. Jalen Green has said that, he likes Kyrie as a mentor. He's got his number. They talk. What do you think about that, man?
It's not... I think Ime Udoka was on the Nets when Kyrie was on the team, so there's some familiarity there. That makes sense. Maybe Kyrie, he gets to stay in Texas, goes to a younger team, more talent. Maybe you could argue saying because of all their youth that they can build a contender or more well-rounded team faster than what the Mavericks could do. It makes sense. But once again, with Kyrie Irving, do you know that he's going to be committed to playing?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Will he be committed to playing? And there's nothing against the talent, nothing against anything. But for the last couple of seasons, we know he hasn't played a full season for one reason or the other. If you're Houston, this seems like another desperate move for Houston. You know what I mean? Like you go out, you want James Harden back after you just trade him. Very desperate. Now you're saying Kyrie's the backup option. Seems very desperate. If you're Houston and you got all these young players, I would have just stayed course and tried to develop what you have in-house and maintain the draft capital that you have. Add some good veterans around the team. I just feel like the Rockets right now are trying to do a lot because, as we know the ownership wants to be competitive. Mm-hmm. And I think this is cutting your nose to spite your face in a scenario where, okay, we just got to do something. It's like what the Timberwolves did, right? When you trade for Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're close. Let's just go trade because Gobert's going to take us over the top. And now we're having potentially even more serious talks about moving Karl Anthony Towns because the fit doesn't work, right? We did on Knicks Weekly yesterday. We talked about Cat, Levine, Beal, guys who are making $50 million or more on their contracts. Those are all desperate moves. So I think if you're doing this, it's more of a desperate move. I get Kyrie Irving; he's a very talented guy, but if I'm as the Lakers, I understand making that move because you're just that much closer to competing. For Houston, what's the course after you get Kyrie Irving? Because you're gonna have to change a lot of pieces. When he's walked in, he could be an okay to decent defender, but you're gonna need more defenders. You're gonna need some more shot makers on that team. It's just different, man. Different if you think about creating a team focused around Kyrie Irving. Even if you do James Harden, even if you go out and get James Harden.
Yeah. I like the fit from a basketball standpoint, but it's never about basketball with Kyrie, right? It's about everything else. As you said, does the prior relationship with Udoka, who it was rumored that Katie and Kyrie wanted to replace Steve Nash with, does that prior relationship bode well for a potential future relationship in terms of, Kyrie respecting the coach and therefore coming through, being a model citizen, being a leader in the locker room? Who knows, right? Who knows? Because I think the public's perception of Kyrie Irving and a player's perception of Kyrie Irving might be two different things.
I think it is two different things.
It is two different things. So
I think it is.
I think it's hard for us to sit here and say, well, it's going to end a disaster. I mean, based on history, based on what you saw in Boston, basically wanted out of Cleveland, wanted out of Boston, wanted out of Brooklyn. It's trending towards bad things, but you just never know. The Rockets do need a point guard. They could use somebody to take the ball out of Jalen Green's hands, Kevin Porter, somebody to set them up, and somebody who can play off of them, which Kyrie Irving has shown that he can do at multiple stages of his career. I like their interest in fortifying these young guys with talent, veteran talent, and hopefully that they can start to win, because as you start to win, not contend, not realistically contend, but to not be in the bottom of the barrel every year, which teams that continue to field young rosters have a tendency to do, but maybe to win some games, and that will ultimately improve your crop of young players, get them into winning habits, so on and so forth. I'm just not sure if it's a Kyrie Irving or even a James Harden, and do they want to outlay 4 years guaranteed money to these guys when you still have to, and big money, when you still have to pay your Jalen Greens. Later on, you got to pay Jabari Smith, you got to pay Sengun, and so on. So it's a risky bet that they're trying to make.
And you got to think, if you go out and get Kyrie Irving, right, you talk about that 4-year contract that you would get. He's 31 right now, just turned 31 in March. He'll be 35 if you sign a 4-year contract, right? At the end of that deal. Mm-hmm. If you're Kyrie, don't you want to go compete, right? Yeah. Like the whole thought is that you want to go compete, and playing with young players, rookies, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go in that direction. There's a lot of uncertainty because guys still got to learn the ropes of the NBA. They still got to add more to their game. If you're Kyrie, is that really what you want to do? And if that's the case, then I just don't see all those young players on Houston. If he wants to compete right now, be in the mix of the playoffs, then you're going to have to do a little bit more shaking up on that Rockets roster, because they've been losing terribly for the last 2-3 seasons with Silas at the helm. And it's not all on Silas. It's also based on what the Rockets did from a management standpoint and how they constructed the team, got rid of James Harden. I just don't see how you're going to keep all that youth as we're talking about if you go get someone like Kyrie. I think there would have to be massive change in order to compete right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Now, here was Screaming A. Smith on the Harden situation. Screaming A. Smith. Screaming A. Smith. Here was Screaming A. Smith on the Harden situation saying what he knows. Here's Stephen A. Smith with some intel. Here it is. It's courtesy of First Take.
Let me put a period on this narrative in regards to what people not understanding rather why Houston is in the mix, particularly considering the young team that they have.
Yep.
Figure out how I know. I'm not guessing. I'm telling you what I know. I'm going to put this story to bed right now. James Harden was in Houston. James Harden wanted out of Houston. James Harden wanted to go with Daryl Morey to Philadelphia. There was no way that Tillman Fertitta, Rockets ownership, was going to let that happen. They were not going to let Daryl Morey walk out the door and then take their star player with them. It was not going to happen. James Harden insisted. He wanted that to happen. Remember, he showed up out of shape. Remember, he was missing, some training camp stuff and all of this. All of those storylines were going on. Ultimately, what happened is Brooklyn became an option because Philadelphia wasn't going to be an option. When James Harden wanted out the door, James Harden basically said, I am more than open to coming back. Just let me get away and give me an opportunity to try and win a championship, because clearly you guys are moving in a different direction, and we're not going to have a team to win a championship. Houston obliged with the understanding that if there was an accord that could be reached down the line, they would be receptive to bringing him back, and he would be receptive to coming back, because obviously as an organization, they treated him well, he treated them well. And that's where all of this comes from. The problem is that in order for James Harden to hint towards going back, and I don't believe he's going back. I don't even believe he wants to go back, but he just wants his money. And you're thinking if there's one organization that'll give you the money, it'll be them. Well, I would say to you that ain't gonna happen, because after watching him in this postseason, they might be willing to give him a 2-year deal. They ain't willing to give him a 4-year deal, particularly at max dollars. And so because of that, I really don't see that happening. But everybody that's acting like they don't know, let me erase that right now. Stop acting like you don't know. I just told you what happened. He wanted out.
All right. That's enough of Screaming A. Smith. So basically he says that, the Harden thing, and this is what I had heard. I had heard that same thing that he did. He didn't want to go to Brooklyn. He wanted to go to Philly at first from Houston. Obviously with Morey there, Fertitta and Morey, Fertitta wasn't going to help him. So he goes to Brooklyn. From what I heard, he didn't want to play with KD. That's why he requested the trade, gets up out of there, goes to Philly, because he was going to go there anyway as a free agent. And so now what Stephen A. is saying is that because he left Houston on good terms, that they would welcome him back. It's just a question of would he go back? And just like I said, I think it's a tricky gamble for Houston to invest 4 years in either one of these guys. And then also on the flip side for the Harden thing, even though a lot of the insiders are pushing him there from the beginning of the season, just like you said with Kyrie, I figured that Harden wants to go try to win a ring. So I think, as Stephen A's right, I think this could be a leverage play to get the money out of the Sixers. You stick with Embiid, your best chance to win a championship for the rest of your career, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And stick it out with Philly. I don't see, the Houston thing and familiarity, family and all of that, it just doesn't make sense to me, man. Unless Philly's balking at the money.
Look, if you're Houston right now, you'd have to give up one of these players, right? Sengun, Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, Usman Garaba, Kenyon Martin Jr., Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. That is essentially that team. That's the core of that team. Now you move one of those guys, bring James Harden, or you move a couple of those guys, you bring James Harden in. You now need to add somebody else to that team. Now you're moving another couple of players. And Josh Christopher, Jock Landale, Deshaun Tate ain't really moving the needle, if you're, in my opinion, for like another deal.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about moving a lot of draft picks. So now you're Houston. You just gave up some young players. You're moving a lot of draft picks. You get Harden. You get some other guy. What are you building with that team?
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me. So if I'm Houston, you ask Ime Udoka, look, man, I'm going to give you all the leeway in the world right now because we got a bunch of young guys that need some guidance. We didn't get that with Silas. Can you help us groom this team? I don't see why Houston would want to go get James Harden or Kyrie Irving. I think that's a risky move. Kyrie, I think, should be their first option if you want to go with a guy who can compete, just because you can get him in free agency. But if you got to go trade for James Harden, Like James Harden could walk, but I think James Harden also wants that real deal as well, like a long-term deal. So he might ask for a sign and trade.
Mm-hmm.
But then once again, is Daryl Morey going to do work with the Houston Rockets?
Right.
I don't think so.
It's
a tricky situation.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said. I think it's more of a leverage play for Philly. You got something there already. Why even to go to Houston? It just seems like a lot of work to get Harden, who's now we're talking about on the back half of his career. You know, they got to figure out how to build around after you move all those assets. That sounds a little messy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, Mark Stein in his report also said that Fred VanVleet could be an option for the Rockets. Looks like Fred VanVleet and both VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. are on their way out of Toronto. So it looks like Raptors are going for a full rebuild. We'll see what happens with OG Anunoby. But I think for the Rockets, that would be a pretty solid backup plan. Go get VanVleet and go get Brook Lopez. You get 2 vets, 1 championships, can help these guys win. Examples on the court. I know VanVleet hasn't been the guy he's been, but certainly an upgrade there in talent and in know-how and guys that can carry out the instructions of the coach. Because what the Rockets need, they need stability and they need maturity. Jabari Smith is a very, very young player. Jalen Green, very young player. Kevin Porter, good job by him getting his career back on track, but a young player, especially mentally. So they need that. They need good guys around them, guys that know how to win. And again, it's not going to turn them into an instant contender, but the roadblocks to start something. I think VanVleet and a Brook Lopez, 2 guys who look to be on the outs with their teams in terms of just the money that they're looking for in free agency and the direction that the teams are going in. I think that would be a good. Good start for the Rockets. Plus, they have all the Nets draft picks. You can wheel and deal there. You can still bring on some young talent. Maybe you bring on some, 4-year starters at the NCAA level, guys who you can plug and play. Or you package those guys up and get some more vets. They got $60 million in cap to play with. So certainly something to think about.
Definitely another option. If I'm Houston, this is where I'm going. I'm looking at keeping Jabari Smith Jr., Sengun, and then I'm really looking at, your perimeter. You're looking at Kenyon Martin Jr., Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. I like Fred VanVleet. He has a player option. He could totally opt out, go there, play with Ime Udoka. If I'm Gary Trent Jr., I might also do that. I actually like the front court for Houston right now, more so than the perimeter. There's always been questions about Jalen Green right now in Houston and what type of player he can still be. Nice offensively, just still questions. But if I'm Houston, if I want to retool and be competitive, you bring in those 2 guys right there, and you got something. I'm not too quick to move off of Sengun for Brook Lopez.
Nah, he's nice. He's nice, man. Sengun is gonna be nice. Don't get rid of him.
Yeah, so that's why, at the center position, what are you thinking? Like Brook Lopez is like a backup center? Because I think Brook still wants to start. He looks at himself as a starter.
He definitely wants to start. That's a good point. He definitely wants to start.
So
but who knows,
I think
man?
Trent Jr., Fred VanVleet, both guys you can opt out. You go down to Houston. I think, if you're Houston, you could think about moving Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. Maybe put them. It probably hurt. If you're Ime Udoka, you really want to make them work. You put them to the bench. That's another way. I would look at that. I would look at that if you want to compete.
Yeah, good point. Good point, man. What do you guys think in the chat? Leave some comments or call us up, man. 657-383-1509. Hit us up, man. The NBA Report live and direct. CP and Alex on the 1s and 2s. We're talking NBA Finals. We're talking NBA offseason, which is quickly coming. It's right around the corner, man. So
we're halfway there, man. We halfway there to the.
Yeah, we are halfway there, man. So very much looking forward to that. Keith Smith coming on Wednesday. We may have Mark Jones stay on point for that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel.
And the draft is very soon, 22nd.
22nd, man. 22nd.
CP, it's just weird because we cover the Knicks and usually we're in this process much earlier, usually in April. And since the season ended last month, in May, it's more condensed than I'm usually ready for.
Rapid fire, man. Rapid fire, bro. So, draft coming up on the 22nd, and then you got free agency basically starting up on the 30th, and away we go. Lots of moving parts. We'll see who is going to get dealt, see who's going to sign where, and what happens as teams try to navigate this salary cap, man. So that's that with that. Mike Breen now will be calling his 100th NBA Finals game tonight, man. The GOAT, the winner of the Kurt Gowdy Award, Hall of Famer, broadcast Hall of Famer, Fordham University's own New York Knicks legendary broadcaster, calling his 100th Finals game, man. And a couple things when I look back on this. Number one, I'm getting old. So, you know, I like to play the old card, but
here's the geezer.
Yeah, back in my day, it was Marv. Oh, boy. You had Costas, you had Marv, legendary broadcasters in their own right, and then to Breen. So, you know, it just the lineage of broadcasters, just great ones, man. And Mike is just he deserves that recognition. He's legendary. He's very humble. I've had, a couple conversations with him. He's come on the show. He's come on Knicks Fan TV as well, and shared some tidbits with us. So congratulations to Mike Breen, man. Stand-up job and just a stand-up guy, man. New York's finest, calling his 100th NBA Finals game, man. Yeah.
How blessed as a Knicks fan that we get to hear him regularly.
Yeah.
Whether we're watching a Knicks game, you tune into a regular NBA game, the finals. He's just like one of those iconic broadcasters that you're going to remember, as you said, for Bob Costas. Like, that's just who you think about, like, calling games, his iconic bang. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great accomplishment for Mike Breen. And, yeah, great interview that you had with him on Knicks Fan TV. I highly recommend, if anyone has not checked it out, to go do so. He gave you some really good tidbits, especially for anyone out there that wants to get into broadcasting and be on the mic. Really gave some good tidbits. And to even hear his story where, even after a year of doing radio, he was like, "Oh, I sound even better than I did when I first started out." It's just good stuff to hear like that to give you confidence, right? For anyone tuning in to go out there and start paving your path if you want to get into media, broadcasting, whatever it is you want to do. Awesome stuff, man. Great to see that he's calling his 100th game. Hopefully, it's a Nuggets win for him. And, that way he can have a nice summer.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you spoke on the tidbits that he shared. Free game, as I like to call it, man. Here was Mike Breen on his 3 tips for aspiring broadcasters, but I think it also could apply to content creators or anybody in the media space, man. Here's Breen, man, on his 3 keys. Free game from the GOAT. Here it is.
Number 1 is preparation is the key to everything. If you're prepared, if you know the subject matter, if you really know what you're talking about, it's easy to talk about. And if you're not, and you go on the air and there's that hesitancy, that's when you get yourself in trouble. And number 2 is you just need to get reps. My first job out of college was at a radio station in Poughkeepsie, New York. I gave an audition tape to the news director there, and he listened to it and he hired me, and I was fortunate. And it was from my work that I had done at WFUV at Fordham. So I worked there for a year, and after a year, I got an extra assignment, and I went back and I listened to my audition tape. It was so bad. The audition, I don't know how the guy hired me. But he did. I was fortunate that he did. He hired me because he really didn't have to pay me anything. But the improvement I made from 1 year when I first got out by being on the air 5 days a week was enormous. I went from being barely hireable to, okay, I think maybe I got a chance to be pretty good at this because I had those reps. Third thing I tell young men and women who are in school still is to really learn the language and to learn to speak the language, get a good vocabulary, have different ways to describe things. I'm still working on that. I've always felt that I could get so much better at that and still do.
All right, that was a great Mike Breen, man. Just free game for those who want to hear it, man. And some really great advice, things that I certainly ascribe to, prepared, putting in the work, putting in the preparation, doing your research. I always got my notebook here with all my notes. He talked about getting the reps, right? One of the things that I talk about on any interview that I do in terms of like my whole journey is just about consistency. From June 17th, 2016 or whenever it was. I think that was the first episode of KFTV, my first content that I made from that day. I've been working on this ever since, and that's been 6 years and really haven't stopped. So I think that's part of the whole rep situation. I could attest, go to one of the earlier first videos at KFTV to now. I'm sure that I've improved in certain areas, but certainly more to go. And then, as he said, the last one is working on vocabulary. That's something that I do as well. Whether it's podcasts I listen to or things that I read, if there's certain words that I don't know or certain, phrases, things of that nature, I always write those down, do some research. What does that mean? So on and so forth, because you always want to expand on your vocabulary, something that Breen talked about, something that Clyde Frazier, the great Walt Clyde Frazier, talks about as well. Clyde used to study the dictionary. So, just certain tidbits there in terms of working on your craft from a Hall of Fame broadcaster. So hopefully you guys out there take heed of that advice and carry it forward in your respective journeys.
For sure. All great stuff, man. And I can attest to that too. Like even before I became full-time Knicks Fan TV, I was also doing Knicks Jets, etc. Shout out to my guy John and Greg over there, still doing the work for their fan-sided network. But I was doing that in this show. I was doing like 7 shows a week at one point. And really the consistency, being on a mic, getting comfortable with it. I can tell you that the first podcast I ever did does not sound the same as I do right now on the mic. And it's just knowing, simple things of like when to take a pause, doing your research, knowing what you're talking about. And you also got to love what you're doing when you talk about something, right? Like you actually genuinely have to love what you're talking about, because if you love what you're talking about, you'll consistently do the research. And the stats that I know today I didn't know back then, it's even when I started writing, for all the people who think I dislike Julia so much, one of my 3rd articles I ever wrote was believing that is his time to shine on the New York Knicks. And I go back to reading that right now, and I'm like, my writing is different, the research is different, the preparation, all that stuff goes, but it takes time. You got to also be courageous enough and just not expect your first thing to be perfect, but know that you want to continuously put in the work to be better every single day, whether it's just 1%, 2%, as long as you're moving forward, you're going in the right direction at achieving your goal.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. Just try to improve each day just a little bit better each day, man. Well said. Absolutely well said, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Salute to Tyler for putting that together, putting that clip together. Make sure you guys are following us at Team NBA Report on Twitter, on Instagram as well. And likes, share, subscribe, all those good things, man. All right, let's get into some random tidbits around the league, man. Conor McGregor. The gift.
This is my favorite part of the show.
The gift, yeah. we got to get to the foolery. We got to get to the foolery, man. It's always good to sprinkle that in, with all the serious stuff. You got to get to the foolery. Conor McGregor, ladies and gentlemen, the gift that keeps on giving. So, in Game 4, Conor McGregor, the Heat contract with him to bring him on to promote some pain relief spray. Okay? Now, I don't know whose idea this was to book this dude or to have him do what he did, which was knock out the Heat mascot, Bernie. Now, as a Knicks fan, I don't mind that. But in reality, you had Conor McGregor in this skit, drops the mascot, the dude that's in the mascot outfit, literally drops him. His head bounces off the floor. And according to reports, this guy had to go to the emergency room for his injuries. But you can't make it up, man. Let's play it with the sound. There it is.
And apparently he wants some. Oh! Mercy! Bernie! You're going to need some title yourself, baby. Get Bernie out. Give him the title on him. Put the title on him.
And shout out to the PA announcer who's calling the play-by-play of this thing. This poor guy getting his head bouncing off the floor, and then the rest of the promo team dragging him by his feet off the court. Meanwhile, this guy is in a whole nother dimension. He's in the Matrix right now. Doesn't even know his name. Shout out to that guy because he's going to get paid, man.
Yes, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Man, whoever that attorney is, you're welcome.
I mean, whose idea was this to book this guy in front of the Heat crowd? My team is losing. We're up against a formidable foe in the NBA Finals. Let's bring this guy in here to knock out our own mascot and drag him off the court. That should really get the crowd hype.
Workers' compensation through the roof for this one.
Oh, man.
But why would you even, like, if I'm going to do a fake boxing match, I'm not going to bring in a UFC champion who legitimately has hands that are considered lethal weapons. Like, legitimately lethal weapons. Like, what are we doing here, man?
But, bro,
what are we actually doing here?
The thing is that, I think they could have brought in somebody else, but it was Conor's product that he was trying to sell. But they also should have known that Conor McGregor has 10 screws loose. This is the same guy, I forgot who he was fighting, Khabib or somebody else, who threw a chair or something at his opponent's tour bus, and the people inside got cut. The guy is certified crazy, cares about nothing. He's an egomaniac, a narcissist. And that punch, that was a real punch.
Oh, yeah.
That was a real punch.
1,000%.
Bro, the force on that punch, that dude dropped straight on his head in the mascot outfit at all.
CP, you ever watched the show Behind the Mask? It was on Hulu.
I thought it was Mask Singing. No, I didn't see Behind the Mask, no.
So Behind the Mask is it's a documentary series.
Okay.
About people who are mascots.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
They're at all levels, high school, college, semi-pro, and professional. I would like to know this guy's story right now after this incident. And it's essentially the show is about like the journey becoming a mascot and trying to work up the ranks and all that stuff. But I would love to know the whole behind the scenes of this one and what actually happened.
Yeah, we need the behind the scenes story of Bernie the mascot and to tell us the story about when Conor McGregor knocked him 10 toes down. You can't. The Heat. Look, they win championships. They're great on the court, but off the court, this is gonna go down as the worst idea next to retiring Michael Jordan's jersey. I think that's gonna be the worst marketing gimmick next to retiring number 23. Man, oh man, bro, they got to rethink that. And then how about Paul Pierce? The truth, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
The truth.
This man can't stay out of trouble.
You know, one of the things we like to do, what we've done on Knicks Fan TV and what we'll do in the NBA Report, we do watch-alongs, right? We do the watch-alongs. You got JD Sports Talk doing great play-by-play, and it's great. You get the people involved, people who missed the game, so on and so forth. So now, shout out to Showtime Basketball. They have contracted with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. They have their podcast, which they record, and they come out with their sound bites, so on and so forth. Respect to that. Now, they decide to do a live watch-along for Game 4, and it didn't go so well for both Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Here's just a couple of the shenanigans that went down on this show, man. Let's listen to Paul Pierce here. Let's listen to this classic. Here he is.
I just want Miami to win. Man, it's like watching the game at the crib or something, man. You know what I'm saying?
You really got to
throw a wall in here and turn it up. You know what I'm saying?
Kevin.
Hey, how you
doing?
Camille, nice to meet you. That's Formula One everywhere, ain't it? Formula One everywhere.
This is my girlfriend for the day. They got a website that you can hire girlfriends for the day.
Stop, man.
And so I got a girlfriend for the day.
Stop, man. Stop.
You can hire girlfriends for the
Stop,
day.
Man.
I went on the website and I hired a girlfriend for the day.
Look, Collins. There go Collins. Look at D Wade at the game. D Wade.
Give me a lighter. Yeah, nigga. Who you think you talking to?
Hey, my boy, don't make me smack you.
Relax, man. Relax, man. Relax, man. Relax.
I'm saying, though, who throw it at me?
It came from him. Relax.
All right, no.
Watch the game, Lloyd. Get on the game.
Oh my goodness, Paul Pierce, ladies and gentlemen. You know it's bad when KG, a notorious trash talker, just straight rated R with the mouth, is like, whoa, you gotta relax. When KG is saying you wilding out, that means you went way too far. Way too far.
Paul Pierce legit just said, I went on a website and got a girlfriend for the day. All right, man.
And at that point, KG's like, boy, this Formula One, it sure is something. And the girl is thoroughly embarrassed. You see, she's not even trying to be anywhere near the camera.
No, she's not even trying to be in the shot.
KG is like, oh my God, what is going on here, bro?
And Pierce is like trying to grab her arm, and she's like, no, absolutely not. No. We're not doing this. We are not doing this.
Let me tell you, when it gets too real for KG, it is you have a serious problem. to the point where KG had to remind this guy several times that they're live. And I don't have the footage where Paul Pierce actually looked to confirm that they were live, but it was hilarious, bro. Hilarious. So, look, man, one of the things that people like about these live streams now and this kind of new age media, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, is the authenticity, is the ability to say what you want, curse, do what you want. There's there's not as much rules and stuff like that. Now we try to regulate that a little bit and keep it a family show, so we appeal to all ages. But I think that's what appeals to people, the authenticity of live streams. But you still got to carry yourself with some level of professionalism. Look, you guys have seen me on Knicks Fan TV streams. If I'm at the game, I'm somewhere. Yeah, I'm probably sipping, right? But I still try to do my best to maintain, I'm still going to have fun, but I'm still going to try to maintain a little bit and speak professionally. Paul Pierce just went all the way out at the rails, man. All the way.
Yeah, all the way try to maintain a level of professionalism. You can't hit a free throw for
That's
a
right.
Rick, but it's
right.
okay.
Right. I can't hit a free throw under the influence, but I still try to maintain a program under the influence. But with Paul Pierce, man, it's easy to see why ESPN showed him the door after the original video that showed him with some Renner friends playing poker. I mean, listen, he's a retired NBA player. He's got a lot of money. He's living his life. I can't knock him for that. You can't knock him for his lifestyle choices. It's not about that. But when you come to work, expectations are expectations.
Question for you, CP.
Yeah.
What do you think it would be like if you had Paul Pierce and Zion Williamson running out on the town together?
Oh my God. It would be absolutely pandemonium. And Zion is going through a world of pain, but he's a young guy. You hope Zion learns from that, learn from this experience. I don't like to see Zion out there getting humiliated like that, but he's a young guy. And so this is just a learning experience from like anything else. But for Paul Pierce, he's just an old simp with no shame. He's like, yo, whatever, man. Cut the check or not. I got money still, or you hope so. I don't know his finances, how he's maintaining, but seems like a guy that has no cares in the world, man. You just can't bring that to the workplace, man.
I mean, we know why ESPN let him go for that one video clip.
Right.
Just him with all that action in the background.
Right.
At this point, what do we say it's a habit?
Right. So I'm sure that my friends at Show Basketball are like, okay, that's enough with the live streams. We'll go back to recording content from here on out. And that's it.
Jamaica Queens 22 in the chat said, oh, nah, Al, call the police on that one with the Zion and Paul Pierce tandem.
That would be box office must-see TV, man.
Please.
Yeah, man. Absolutely hilarious. But anyway, great show, everybody, man. Just had to, always got to end the show with the foolery, man. Have some fun with it. Great show, Al. We'll be back tonight. Game 5, post-game between the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. Do the Heat hold on? Or will we crown another champion? Tyler Herro coming back. We'll see if that helps the Heat. And that's it, man. Just keep it locked here, man. Number one show for the fans by the fans. Remember that the show is also available in audio podcast format, so no reason to miss it. And we'll see you guys here for postgame, man. Postgame live at around, 10:30, 11 Eastern. Tap in, man. Salute to everybody who came through. And we'll see you guys later on tonight, man. Great show. Salute to Jay from East New York. Salute to everybody who tapped in, all the mods, TM. For those of you in the chat right now, join the Discord. The NBA Report Discord has now been set up. Shout out to TM for setting that up. So the community is building brick by brick, just like we did at KFTV. NBA Report, hit that Discord link, join the conversation, and share it. Let's build it up like we did on the home team in KFTV, man. Great show out, and we'll catch you guys